for being here. We're excited to make this announcement, and we're going to open it with Nick giving a few remarks, and I'll turn it over to Nick and our technical director, Ray Reed. Again, thank you all for being here, and exciting announcement for us.
Yeah, I want to echo those words. Thanks for showing up. Great turnout. Really excited to be here after a long 21 years in Major League Soccer. I took a little time off. I needed to. Dabbled in lacrosse for a few years in the indoor league, and most recently in the NHL with the Coyotes. And it was time. It was time to get back into the sport I love so much. I started Major League Soccer with a very small group of executives back in 1995, and the motivation back then was to create a league for America, for North America, a league that really didn't do so well when I was a player in the 80s. But we wanted to build a league, and our motivation was always to build American soccer and look at the sport today. It's booming at every level. It's such a great time for me to come back into the sport. So I'm honored, thankful to Bruce Mandell and the Calafiore family, Joe and Joe Jr., who are here. We just got along great from hello, saw the game the same way, wanted to build the sport in this town, in this market, as well as this country. So our motivations were aligned, and I'm excited to be here. I got tons of energy. I'm ready to get after it. There's so much to do here. Amazing fan base. I mean, the media, obviously, you all turn out for this. I didn't realize I was this popular in Hartford, but thanks for coming out. And my motivation is to continue to grow the sport in this country. The next decade is going to be unbelievable. If you thought the last 40 years were a great run for soccer, the next 10, I believe, are going to be exponentially bigger than the last 40. A whole generation of Americans has grown up on the sport. They know the game better than the generation before that. And it's exciting, and it's getting bigger. The World Cup's coming here in 2026. The Confederations Cup the year before, and the World Men's Club Championship is going to be hosted in the U.S. Those are three of the biggest men's tournaments that FIFA has, and they're coming to the U.S. So that tells you something, and it's just a great time to be in American soccer. So it was good timing. I started a company 8 years ago called Global Football Group. Mostly our work was being done in Europe. That company, we just appointed a CEO. We'll be making that announcement soon, and that company is going to be growing in North America as well. So I'm excited about that, and it could not be a better time to jump back into the sport that I love. So thank you. Thanks for welcoming me and showing up to this press conference the way you have in large mass, and we're going to work real hard to take Hartford Athletic to whole new levels.
What do you hope to bring to this franchise that it doesn't have now?
Well, it's got quite a bit, for a club that was founded in 2019. I think Bruce and the ownership group have done a fantastic job supporting it and investing in it. I think there's more. I'm not here to change anything. I'm here to add stuff. And I've got a lot of years under my belt of stadium development, club management, youth development. I started what was, I think, the first youth academy in Major League Soccer with the New York, New Jersey Metro Stars that generated some high quality talent. So I think we have a lot of work to do in the area of youth academy and youth development. There's a lot of players now, more than ever, walking around the clubs and fields of America that are finding their way into the USL, finding their way into Major League Soccer, and there's more Americans playing in Europe than ever. When I signed my first contract in France, I think there was like 5 of us in Europe. Now there's hundreds playing over there. So I think, adding to the mix of assets for Hartford in the development youth players and youth academy is pivotal, really, in any soccer club around the world, and certainly no exception here. So I think academy is important. This is a great spot for the stadium. The stadium has so much history, and I think there's things that we can add to the stadium to make the fan experience. I think we're going to be really, really focused on fan experience, not just in the stadium infrastructure itself and the food experience and the game atmosphere experience, but the on-field matters as well. That's all part of the overall fan experience. So we've got to get better at that and add some really important things to the on-field fan experience. It'll be all about that, all about the fans. These guys here also deserve more, as do the fans in the stands. The fan club is loud and passionate, and it needs to be supported. So in all those aspects, I want to be able to bring 30 plus years of experience, mostly in soccer, but in other sports as well, to the party here.
Yeah, this is a team that has gone through a lot of roster turnover, a lot of coaching changes in their 5 years, and yet haven't necessarily seen the on-field success that they would have liked. You mentioned that you're here to add things. What's the first step in your mind?
I want to add sustainability and consistency, and you're spot on. Like that, if you look at any successful club anywhere in the world, good people need time to get momentum and get their what I call sea legs in this business. I've learned in my career that when you hire really good people and you huddle them up to develop a plan and give them time to execute that plan and get momentum and stability, good things usually happen. And I think that's the most important thing that we've got to bring. It's not just me. It's every person in the company, from the kit man straight to the ownership. We need consistency and stability, and we've got some good people in this club. There's no question about it. I've spent a little bit of time with every one of them so far, and there's some talent here. They just need the resources and stability to execute, brilliantly execute.
Been around the world, been around the country, doing what you're doing, and your alma mater, University of New Haven. How's it feel to be back in Connecticut? What's special about Connecticut, man? What's special about this place?
Man, I had 4 of the best years of my life in New Haven at the time. I actually played against this guy who was a complete pain in my ass. You were the captain, weren't you, of Southern, and I was the goalkeeper, and we had some big games in New Haven, the City Series. Remember that, right?
Yeah, on Quinnipiac.
Big turnouts and great memories, like really great memories. And I'm getting texts now from some of my teammates from back then, and Division II soccer back then was very, very good. A lot of players that came out of the team I played at turned pro, including myself, that played at very high levels, and just a lot of good memories. I got knocked out here at the University of Hartford, flat on my butt from an elbow remember the player Junior Solomon?
Jamaican forward.
Yeah, he gave me
Still on
one
the field.
and knocked me out, and I actually went back in the game. It would never happen today, going back into the game because of concussion protocol, but lots of good memories here. And it feels like I belong here, because I've been here before.
What's going to be your role versus Bruce in terms of how are you guys divvying up your responsibilities? What are going to be some of your main roles and responsibilities versus what he's going to continue to do?
Well, I'm in charge of the whole enchilada, so I'm going to work very closely with Bruce to make sure we get the enchilada right.
But he's going to stay on, right?
Bruce?
Yeah.
Bruce, the owner.
Yeah.
Bruce, the majority owner. I hope he stays on. Boy, if he doesn't, I gotta talk to him. It's not part of the deal. But yeah, I'm going to work very closely with him on every aspect of the business, the on-field, the off-field. A lot of people in American sports think that the on-field and the off-field should be two separate departments, and it's kind of counterintuitive. We are in the soccer business. Soccer is our business, and so it's going to be the whole enchilada, to answer your question.
Why was taking this job the right move for you at this point in your career?
Because I can. I mean, honestly, I don't need a job. This is not a job. You know, this is a project that I'm quite passionate about because it's my sport and it's with good people that I connected with, meaning the ownership group, Joe, the Joes, Calfieres, and Bruce and myself. We connected on a lot of different levels on what a soccer club should be, and they've entrusted me to make Hartford Athletic the club that it should be in the USL. And even just because we play in the USL doesn't mean we want to be one of the best, most admired clubs that there is. We belong to a global marketplace. Soccer is different than American football and hockey and basketball, NBA, and Major League Baseball. I mean, we are members of a global universe of 200 plus countries that play the game, thousands of clubs and millions of players. And we want to be known as getting it right, no matter what level we play on.